You must be guessing the topic today, that is women empowerment, on which we have an extension lecture. Women empowerment refers to the process of granting women the power and autonomy to make choices, exercise their rights, and participate fully in all aspects of society. It involves addressing gender-based inequalities, discrimination, and social, economic, and political disparities that have historically disadvantaged women. Women empowerment is not only a matter of justice and equality, but also contributes to the overall well-being and progress of societies. Women empowerment can be seen in various aspects of society and in various fields, which particularly are economic, education, healthcare, political participation, legal rights, social and cultural change, financial inclusion, support networks, media representation, awareness and advocacy, and many other fields. Today, before starting all this, let me call one of our dear students, Fousiya. He will recite holy verses from Pious Quran. Fousiya, please come here.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت. ربنا
So, this was nice and humorous representation of Quran here. In the same way, I would like to call Negat Mujib. She will recite Holy Naam. Negat Mujib, please come here. very beautiful voice she has. She mesmerizes everybody here. Continuing the program, I would like to call Professor Dr. Mustafa Shah. He will give welcome address and will introduce remarks. Professor Mustafa Shah, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد الرجال قوامون على النساء آمنت بالله صدق الله العظيم. All praise for God, who is very compassionate and very merciful towards humanity. Today is a special occasion. On this special occasion, I would love to have lots of durood salam on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah shower His choicest mercies upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dear students, worthy faculty members, and everyone, our today's program's patron, Professor Kausar John. Today we have a special occasion here in the college, and guests are from our own nation, that is India, but the special part of India that is called God's own country, Kerala. And we have some special bondings with Kerala. On this occasion, I just reminded you with the ayah of Quran Majid, wherein God says that I have bestowed the status of man as king. And rest it has been said that the status of woman is like a queen. If he is king, there should be a queen status. Today is on a special occasion. I would like to remind you that we in India, Indian culture, there is special status to women. Women are being worshipped as goddesses. Everywhere, our own existence and survival and sustainability depends upon existence and empowerment of women. If we will empower women, we have nothing to do, but we have just to remind ourselves what our religion says us. Our religion says we are garments for each other. Men and women are garments for each other. And everywhere, whether it is Surah Nisa, whether it is Surah Nur, wherever you will find it, Surah Al-Baqarah, you would just observe that women are being praised like a queen. She has been given special status. I would like to quote Dr. Muhammad Iqbal, who says, "Na taaleem na tahzeeb nahi ho ki purani, azadi hai niswa ka nigahbaan hai fakat mard." It is man who is a protector of rights of women. Only man can protect it. Neither civilizations nor the modern education, but it is man who can protect the status of women. He has nothing to do. He has just to introspect. His existence, his sustainability is subservient to existence of woman. On this special occasion, I would like to introduce before you, we have our guests today, guest speaker, Professor Fousiya Bismi. And first of all, as my choicest and my deep cordial welcome to her, I would have love to my principal ma'am to give her the bucket of this flower bucket to welcome her as a token of love and love. She is a professor in Sydney University. You would love, inshallah, to hear her thoughts of international repute and of international exposure. We have with us her husband, Professor Hanif Bismi and their son Mustafa Bismi here. On behalf of Worthy Principal, ma'am, and on behalf of faculty members, on behalf of our non-teaching staff, and on behalf of myself, I cordially welcome them all here. And we have our own native person with them, Malik Saab. We also welcome him to be here with us. Inshallah, we would get some good ideas from them regarding women empowerment. Thank you all.
Women empowerment in India is a multifaceted and ongoing process. It aims at promoting gender equality and ensuring that women have the same rights, opportunities, and access to resources as men have. A lot of efforts have been taken in various fields, like women have nowadays, we have Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act, Maternity Benefit Act, Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace, those have been already given. With respect to education, recently our government had started Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, that focuses on girl education and welfare. We have other initiatives also like National Rural Livelihood Mission and other programs that help financially to girls and women, entrepreneurs and workers. Though recently, if you have seen the news or if you have gone through news coverages, women reservation bill has been passed in Indian Parliament. So, efforts are being made to sensitize society about gender issues through these campaigns, workshops and awareness programs. Today, our guest is Fousiya Bismi. She had her Bachelor's in Science and Master's in Science from Calicut University, Kerala. She had done Bachelor's in Taxation, Law and Accounting from University of New South Wales, Sydney campus. She has a vast experience in taxation law and tertiary science qualification. She has worked for more than 30 years in family law, taxation law, national disability insurance and public service departments. She has also been a secretary and cultural program coordinator of Australian Multicultural Eid Festival and Fair Consortium. This annual event held at Fairfield Showground, Sydney. It was the largest festival in Australia. In 39 years, almost 20,000 people attended it. She is also a film and book reviewer currently, and there are various awards she has got in her life. She has represented Australia at First International Conference of Women's Rights and Responsibilities in Islamic System, Tehran, Iran, in July 2006, where she presented her paper. She has also got second prize at Tehran also. It was about paving the ground for the reappearance of Imam Mahdi. That it was in 2010. She has also got second prize in same country, Iran. It's about International Islamic Cultural Organizations. She has represented Australia there for a travel law. So ma'am, we welcome you here and we will learn more from you, from your insights, from your learning, from your wisdom, and we'll gain everybody here some knowledge so that we can get those all the experiences she has. Please welcome, come here and deliver.
Thank you. Thank you for that very nice introduction. It's really an honor and privilege to come to your college, beautiful college. I became the bizarre way, the Wagoora way, the long way. Beautiful, peaceful setting. You're very lucky that you have such a nice setting for a college here. It would have been my dreams to study in a place like this. Thank you for having us here in the school. Professor Fousiya, Sayyid Mustafa, thank you so much for the kind introduction. for myself and my family. Thank you. We've been here for nearly 3 weeks. We have in Kashmir, we've been to different places, we've been to different schools, where we have given a speech at Faizar Public School, where we were privileged to give a speech. My son gave a speech there, interacted with the students. So it is really an honor for me to interact with you at this level, at the university level. My topic is women's empowerment, but I'm really talking about Kashmiri women who are in positions of influence, so who are influencers in society, either through education or being homemakers. Doesn't matter. Where you are in a position of being able to influence your society, starting with your own family, compared to in positions of influence when you're working with men. So the idea that I have, having spoken on similar topics, even in Sydney, so I would have spoken to women on women empowerment, Muslim women empowerment in Sydney. There is not much difference. Wherever you are in the world, it's the attitudes that you bring. So where men and women work together, that's important. So women are seen, as Sayyid Mustafa said, men are the maintainers of women. Women actually are a higher contributing partner. We know that women, even if you're educated and working in a career outside the home, when you come back home, you still have duties, either to your parents or to your in-laws. You are still in a traditional setting in Kashmir. So whereas back in Australia, we would have a unit family, we don't have extended families. Because we are migrants, we have left our parents and our in-laws back in the countries that we come from. We live in unit families where it's even more important that our men, for women, that men and women work together as a family to help bring up the young of our future generations so they are good human beings in society. So always that's the bottom line. You should be able to contribute good human beings to society. The society then have good leaders, and leaders will make the place a better place. So morally we have to bring up our kids in the best way possible. That's the bottom line. It doesn't matter what education you have, whether you're a principal of a college or whether you are working at home and don't have an opportunity to work outside. It doesn't matter. The end result or the goal that we have is to bring up good children. Children who will be good influencers, good leaders, morally good people, without corruption, without all of the things that we see today. We need to bring up good people. It's the next generation, that's our aim. So what do we do to make that possible? So I'm going to present, let's start off with what's an ideal woman. So today we present an ideal Kashmiri woman who carries in one of her hands her religion. So religion for us is the most important thing because that forms the basis of everything that we do. Whether it's the clothes, the modest clothes that we wear, or the prayers, the way we bring our families together, all our moral values come from religion. The ideals that we have, so you wish to become a teacher, you wish to become a doctor, all of those values or ideals, the dreams that you have, you carry it in one hand. The hijab that you wear, and your insistence on being able to present as an elegant person. Women are always graceful, beautiful. We want to remain beautiful. And that is why God says, cover the beauty, because it's valuable. So your elegant personality that Islam has already preserved for us. Islam gives us, Islam says you have to hold yourself as valuable. And on the other hand, you hold your knowledge and your wisdom. and your culture. You come with both these things, your knowledge and your culture, your religion, your values, and your dreams, your ideals. That's the ideal Kashmiri woman. In fact, it's the ideal Muslim woman. At the end of the day, it should be the ideal woman. So why are we celebrating a woman? Because to be able to give women empowerment, we have to feel valued. When we feel valued, then we feel empowered. Please get a glass of water. Thank you. Islam has given women a lofty position. Women are educators of society. In Islam, we believe that it's from the laps of women that human beings originate. The first stage of development of a complete man or woman is from the lap of a woman. So we are actually the educators of society. So unless we are educated, we are not able to pass that on properly to our children. So we have to be, when a woman is educated and she is, for example, earning financially, 30 years ago in Kashmir, women were housebound. Even if you had studied, it was not easy to go out. And the conditions that Kashmir is in means that you're restricted in your freedom of speech, in your ability to move around for security reasons. Women are more restricted than men. So all of those limiting factors actually means that you have less capability to reach your maximum potential. You have a whole lot of potential. Kashmiri women are strong women. They're resilient. Despite everything around you, look at you. You are all here and resilient, and you have goals that you want to achieve. You are looking forward to achieving those goals, despite everything that limits your freedom. So, the reason that a woman, we say, has to be educated means that your children will be healthier if you're educated. Your children's education will be better if you're educated. But what happens if you then get married and go into a home, then they say, no, I'm sorry, you can't go out to work, because the conditions in that home may be such that you cannot work, may not be able to do work. If you have a child immediately after marriage, you are again limited from going out to work. Is that a bad thing? Is that a negative thing? It's a reality. It doesn't matter whether you're in Kashmir or you're in Australia. That limiting factor is always going to be there. For example, in Australia, we have a child. Because we don't have in-laws and we don't have our parents there, someone else has to look after our child if we choose to go to work. We have to put that child in childcare, which means complete strangers are going to look after that baby and give it different moral values, give different belief system. And we also have a limiting factor of halal and haram food. So what does your child get to eat when you're not around? That is always going to be a limiting factor. But the fact that you are not allowed to work, even though you may hold a PhD or you may be a doctor, how would you then see that? Is that a negative thing? Is that a positive thing? You should then make use of the fact that you have skills and knowledge that you have acquired and be able to transfer those skills into fields that may not be originally what you had planned to do. And nowadays, because of COVID, we all came to know that online study and work is possible. It's not something that is in the remote future. We are all doing it now, online education. So make use of your skills in a way without feeling depressed that, oh, I studied engineering and I can't go out to work. You would then use it to educate your children or other people's children, so that you then use and give back to the community what you have learned. So whatever you do, share the knowledge with other people. Share the knowledge, give back what you have learned. Be a teacher. A teacher's job is the greatest job. The satisfaction that you have other careers don't have. Office jobs, bank jobs. They don't have the same satisfaction that a teacher has. If a teacher sees the result of his imparting knowledge and the immediate impact it has upon you, upon the young people that we are trying to bring up. So we share our experiences in that way, so that you may gain, or you may feel that, oh, it's the same problem that other people face. It's not unique to us. Even though you have a different set of factors that influence your lives, Kashmir being Kashmir. So history has witnessed great women. Hazrat Bibi Khadija, salamullahi alayha, Bibi Fatima Zahra, salam. They were all strong women. Bibi Khadija was a CEO of her own business. She was a businesswoman, and she was the head of her business. It was a huge business, which she dedicated to Islam after her marriage with the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we take examples from where there was a need to fight for her rights. Bibi Fatima Zahra and Bibi Zainab, I don't know if you know about Bibi Zainab. Bibi Zainab was the sister of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, who after Karbala told the world what happened in Karbala. So there are strong women that we can aspire to draw our ideals from. The patience through difficult times. Because surely you go through difficult times. And a lot of your future is uncertain. So what can give you the certainty of what you do? And you're very strong people, both men and women, because you, despite everything, you are interested in achieving something. You're not sitting at home depressed, where there are conditions that can be depressing. But the important thing is that you look forward to something that is greater than what's around you. You have religious values, which is very important. You have moral values, which you still hold as young people. And we spoke about that in the school yesterday. Mustafa was speaking about that yesterday. The fact that the most important thing is the values, those religious values. Nothing will remain. That will remain. What you pass on to your children may not be the money that you have earned. What will be more valuable is whether you've taught them to pray on time. Time management comes from, God has taught us time management from praying on time. So if nothing else, the advice I give you, which I give my children, is that pray on time. Because that sets your time management for the whole day. God has taught us time management by emphasizing that we pray on time, which I believe you would. The other thing I wanted to say was, how do we, okay, does I bring out a hadith that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said? He said, "O people, indeed, there is a right upon you in relation to your women." So the Prophet is addressing people, but he's talking to the men. He's saying, "O people, indeed, there is a right upon you in relation to your women. You have been entrusted with them by God. Allah has entrusted women to you. Therefore, be mindful of God concerning women and treat them well." So here, even though he's saying, "Oh people," the address is to men because men are maintainers of women. As your professor said, they provide the security and the physical strength that we lack. So this brings me back to feminism. In the when was the Industrial Revolution, women wanted the same pay for the same work that we do. We wanted voting rights. So in the West, feminism started in the West. Islam had given women a higher status. Islam had given inheritance rights. Islam had given women the freedom to speak their mind. But the West hadn't received it. So the women in the West were fighting for their rights. They wanted voting rights, ability to speak in a political process, ability to speak and be a decision maker or influence the decision makers of your society. So the feminism in the 1800s was that they were looking for salary that was equal to men. If you did the same work, women always got paid lower for the same work. So from feminism came equal rights. After that, they wanted more. They started, the feminism that exists today is that women are no longer women. People are asking, have you heard of the gender fluidity? I don't know, it's a big thing in the West, that women are no longer women now. A man can be a woman. You have heard of athletes who have transgender women, men who change into women, and they take part in women's sports and win the race because they have the physical strength to do that. So gender fluidity is a big thing in Australia, in America. You can't say that you're a woman anymore. What defines you as a woman? Is it because you're born as a woman, or is it because you become a woman whenever you want to? So there are problems in the West now because of feminism, because we want not just equal voting rights and equal money. Men want to be women now. So what does Islam say about that? Today they are confused. If you ask anyone in the West, especially the politicians, you ask them what is a woman, and they are unwilling to define it because there is so much of an agenda behind it, which women have been made into a consumer commodity, that they're making use of it and turning men into women. Men no longer have masculinity. Have you noticed? Look at any magazine, open up any TikTok or Instagram page or Facebook page. Men look like women now. You notice that? Their hormone levels are changing. Perhaps because of what they eat, perhaps because of what they wear. A lot of men wear gold. If you wear gold, it changes your masculinity. You become more feminine. Because we are Muslims, we don't wear gold. But there are communities that wear gold, the men that wear gold, they have a feminine characteristics, feminine personality. They're no longer men. The agenda behind all of this is to change men slowly into female characteristics, because men are the ones who usually oppose. They are the ones who resist. They are the ones who speak out. They are the ones who will want to change, the ones who will oppose something. So, of course, if you want to change the men of the world into women, you have to be aware of this. Because once you leave university and you start going out, some of you will go west, some of you may remain here. The agenda is to change men from the food that we eat. So don't eat all of the garbage things that come from outside. You know, those little packets of things, that's bad for you. Those things contain chemicals that change your hormone levels. And you'll find later on that it causes problems. You may not be aware of it now, but for sure we are aware of it in the West. Things that change our testosterone levels. So, coming back to what the Prophet said men have the men give women the security and they have the physical strength. No longer do men have the physical strength. No longer do men want to do what men normally do. Men are now dressing up like women. Men can be found where women's spaces of women in beauty pageants. As Miss America, you find it's a man who is representing America, for example. So just be aware of these things. In the Holy Quran, let's go back to the Holy Quran. The Quran says, in the surah where Bibi Maryam, mother of Isa alayhi salam, Bibi Maryam, when she was born, before she was born, her mother had dedicated her to the Aqsa temple, to the mosque, the holy mosque in Jerusalem. She had said, when this child is born, I'm going to dedicate this child for the service of God. There is a movie called Maryam. You should watch it, it's on YouTube. It tells the story of Bibi Maryam before the birth of Prophet Isa alayhi salam. It's beautifully made. It tells the story of her mother saying, I dedicate this child. She is thinking that she's going to give birth to a boy. I don't know why she thought that, because it could be a boy or a girl. In those days, you couldn't do an ultrasound scan and determine the gender of the child. But she says, I dedicate this child to the temple, to the mosque, to the place Aqsa. And she gives birth. It's a girl. And she says, I've given birth to a girl. And I know a girl is not like a boy. Men and women are different. When they're born, they're different. Allah makes them different. We are physiologically different. Our body structures are slightly different. We have organs that men don't have. So this, and for example, the word Rahm, Allah's name, one of Allah's name is Rahman, Ar-Rahman. The word Rahm comes from the word Rahman comes from the word Rahm. Rahm means womb, the uterus. Uterus in Arabic is R-A-H-M, whatever the Arabic word is, but Rahm is what Allah chooses to take as one of His names, Rahman. And Rahman is one of the greatest names of God. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. The greatest name of Allah is hidden in those lines, in Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. We don't know where it is, but it's hidden in those names. If Allah chooses such a name from a female body, for example, it's a gender, a female characteristic that Allah chooses for Himself. It's a nurturing, caring gender. We don't associate men with those characteristics. The female characteristics of bringing up a baby, nurturing a baby. But Allah chooses that for Himself because He honors the woman so high. Women have such a lofty position that we don't realize it. Why then do we have these problems in society where in patriarchal societies, such as the one we live in, most of the societies that we live in, is there's a hierarchy of men and women being the lower one. Women are not seen as equal contributors in society. Why is that? That's because of the attitudes have remained back from pagan times, from pre-Islam. Even till today, it hasn't changed. The West has had to fight for it. We should not have had to fight for it because Islam gave it to us freely. We didn't have to fight for it. But those attitudes remain. How then do we manage those attitudes in today's society where we are educated in the same classroom, for example? You're all studying the same subject, same degree. But when you go home and you get married, you then come, or when you go home, or when you go to your in-laws, you then completely face the attitudes of a patriarchal society. Can you give me an example of how we can change this? I'm sure you have thought through. Where do we start from? The men can give me an answer. Where do we start from? How do we change this? How do we break the mindset so that your partner, when you get married, you have your wife, your partner will be able to contribute equally to bringing up your child and bringing up your child in a better way than you were brought up, reaching a higher position, especially in the environment that you guys are growing up in. You have so many limiting factors. I would think that you would want to work hand in hand with your wife to bringing up a better society. But what is stopping us from doing that? And I come from Australia and I deal with this. We have the same society mentality that our migrant families come from Afghanistan, from Pakistan, from India, from Arab countries. These are from where the Muslim families come from, and we have families where there's breakup between husband and wife, breakup of the family. I deal with family law, and I see a lot of this in my workplace. And the question comes, why is this happening in the West? You would think that the woman is free there. But this is the patriarchal attitude, the mentality that men have, that women are supposed to be subservient, supposed to be slaves, supposed to do the housework. I can't do the housework, she does the housework. I can't do the laundry, she does the laundry. Cleaning the toilet in the bathroom, it has to be a woman. Men can't do it. So how do we break that mindset? Where do you think it starts from? It starts from when the children are small. When you have a boy and a girl, a son in a house and a daughter in a house, the way we treat the boys is different to the way we treat the girls. What do we say? We say, get a glass of water for your brother. One of you will run away and get a glass for her brother. Isn't that true? The brother might be sitting there where there's a jug of water next to him, but you still have to pour the water for it. And I need to say, this is because we don't even think about it. Our parents don't think about it. They unconsciously pass down the way that the woman and men are different, the attitudes that you treat, the way you treat them should be different. We have to break that attitude, and it starts with you guys. You should be the ones breaking this, because when you get married and you have children, you have to be able to work together. You can't afford not to work together, because you have enough problems outside. Why would you want to spoil your own family? You have to be stronger than us. Like, we don't have to deal with these problems, but you guys have to be stronger. Work with the women in your family. In fact, women abuse women. The women pull down other women. You probably know that. So you go, get married, go to your in-laws' house. There will be women there that will pull you down, will not let you reach your full potential. How do you stop that? Women actually, because they themselves have been treated badly in previous, as they were growing up, they transfer that to their daughter-in-law. For example, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law problem. Prevalent in Kashmir. Why is that? Because you still live in a traditional setting, you still have extended families. How do you break that? How do you allow your women to be empowered? It doesn't matter whether she has a PhD. If she's homebound, how do you give your women the power? The only way she can do that is the men. So that my address is to you guys, not to these women, because you're the ones who are the ones who can make a difference. You boys have to make the difference for them to be able to achieve their full potential. Unless you work together, it's not going to be possible. And I always think this, why on earth don't they do this? They have enough problems otherwise on the road. Can you see how you're restricted? You guys have to be stronger within you. But no, you spend time doing other things, eating so much and having huge weddings, and be conscious of your own limitations. They are taking things away from you. Look after yourself, and yourself is between the men and the women. The women that you will marry, look after them. Balance them between your mother and your wife. It has to be a balance. I know that Islam says that women, your mothers are 3 times as deserving of your service and your attention as your father. Because Islam values women. God only knows how much a mother gives. I'm a mother, but even I don't know what God knows. God knows that I am deserving as a mother 3 times more than my husband. I don't know why, but He knows. So if He knows that, it's important that you balance that with your wife. If you don't balance it, you're lost. Because what will happen is that your wife will sabotage you. Everything you do, she will put it from behind. You want to work with her and your parents and whoever is in your extended family system to be able to bring up children who are free thinkers. Give them the space. Don't traumatize them. Give them the space to think, to be creative. You're all creative. So much potential in you guys that we find from speaking to people. Not just in colleges, speaking to people on the road, speaking to people in the shops. And we love to speak to people because we can see how intelligent you are, how much potential there is, how much creativity you have. But it's a bit stifled, it's a bit held back because you're not able to express yourself. You should be able to express yourself. We're saying that you should talk amongst yourself, find a friend who listens to you. It may not be within your family, but be able to express yourself so that you're relieved from the tensions you have. Sometimes just saying it out helps to get it off your chest. So we think that when you have a wife as a partner, that should be your best friend. Should be someone you can talk to and whom she will support, you will support. Not just physically, not just mentally, but spiritually and physically. So there should be no stigma about the work, so the kitchen is her duty. No, it's not. Why should it be her duty? You didn't marry her for cooking and cleaning, and she's not a housemaid. She's somebody's daughter. She's somebody's sister. She's valued in her house. She never did any of those things because she married you. Because I know these girls are spending time in the college. They don't have time to sew and cook and clean bathrooms. They don't. They are on the same level as you guys because they also don't know how to cook and clean. You don't know how to cook it. But when you get married, you will expect these girls to be better than your mom. You'll probably say, my mom cooks better than you. She's never cooked in her life because she didn't have to. She was studying just as much as you were studying. For that NEET exam, for this exam, for that exam. In traveling so much of a distance to come to college. So at the end of the day, don't expect that because the reality is you may be teaching each other, you may be learning from each other, grow together, support her in her growing, she supports you, grow together and become a family that is better than the one that you've been brought into. I think that's about all I have to say. I don't know if I've run out of time, but any questions? How do we break stereotypes? How do we break the bias that we have in society? How do we break, because the old attitudes are prevalent. You can't overcome the older people in your home household. You can't disrespect them by saying, I have come up with a new attitude. Slowly you have to change it. You have to talk with, so we were at a school yesterday and the girls at the school were saying, our parents don't understand us. Our parents say that you have to study, study, study. No matter what I get in my grades, I still get accused of not achieving enough. That makes me depressed. What do I do? And so I said, why don't you talk to your parents? They probably come from a different era. They may be educated, but they come from a different, we live in a different era. We are distracted by smartphones. That itself is spoiling our whole lifestyle. We have, so there was a question yesterday about dopamine. We're all intoxicated on dopamine. We're addicted to the smartphone. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you name it. That didn't exist when I was a child. My parents didn't have a problem with that. My children, thank goodness they had left school by the time smartphones came out. But that's an issue that your parents probably say you're not allowed to keep a phone. What are you doing in your room? What are you keeping your room locked? Because we're all on our phones. We don't want our parents to know that. How do you break that toxicity? It's toxic. Because we are addicted to that smartphone as much as we are addicted to drugs. And we look upon drugs as something criminal. Nobody's putting us in jail for being addicted to smartphone, but it's more destructive than drugs. More destructive than if you were buying heroin. You don't have to buy a you don't have to buy the apps with as much money as you would spend on heroin, but it's more destructive. So here is something that you have to come up with when you have children. How are you going to control that? Here you can see 1-year-olds walking around with a tablet. Have you seen how the moms give the phone to the child? And she's free. She can go and do all the other things she wants to do. Because this is the baby care. The child care is the phone. You give the phone to the child and you feed the child. Every home has got this. How do you break that? It's destructive. That child is not going to do well in school. So your little brothers and sisters that are on the phone when they're being fed, or instead of playing outside, they're on the phone, that is going to destroy your brother or sister. How are you going to do? What are you going to bring about? What changes are you going to bring about to help you overcome that? Otherwise, we are gone as a society. Let me tell you something. The white people don't give their children smartphones. Australian white families don't give their children smartphones. They don't give their children tablets for them to watch something while mom is in the kitchen. They don't give their children time on the TV. They have a set time and they switch it off. And that child doesn't throw a tantrum. It doesn't lay on the floor and start crying for that phone. You know how our children cry when we take off? We cry If your mom takes away your phone, I'm sure you have a fight with her. Because we are addicted to it. We need that phone. We are all addicted to it. So we get angry, unreasonably angry. It's not reasonable. We get so angry when our phones are taken away. I know you're grown up, but you still have these problems at home. We all do. So what do we do? How do we control it? Yesterday Mustafa was talking about using apps to control your apps. So he said there are apps, which apps, I don't know which apps you're talking about. Okay, fine. Okay. So, yeah, sure. Thank you. So just an example of what we could do to improve your lives. That's fine. No questions. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You want to say something? Yes. I'm not going to do this speech.
He's making silence. There were many